Hey, everybody. Welcome to SEO Unmasked, episode number 63. Today is March 14th, 2019. Happy to have you with us. I'm Garrett Groff.
I'm Vin Trainco.
And I'm Steve Bramley.
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, nothing. Getting over a cold. Anytime the weather changes for the seasons, I tend to get knocked out with a virus or something.
I heard you were going to have two more season changes. Everyone at the airport in Philadelphia was saying the East Coast is going to get hit by another snowstorm before spring finally breaks. So
yeah, for the past few years around here, it's been like March and April have been like unsure if they're spring or winter. So we get snowstorms into April, and it's hell in my immune system.
but I've got the fun of being in Philadelphia again just before Easter, so I'm sure it'll decide to be winter this year.
Yeah. You're flying back next month?
Yeah, just on a family trip, and then I'm going down for Easter weekend to see my brother in Texas.
Oh, cool, man. Where in Texas is he?
He's near Houston, but we're going to South Padre Island.
Oh, nice. I know nothing about Texas. I want to go to Austin just to check it out, but
yeah, Austin's kind of cool. It's got a good party scene.
What made you pick South Padre Island during the middle of spring break? That place is going to be a fucking zoo.
Maybe that's his reasoning.
I have nothing to do with the planning of that part. It was there or Mexico were the two choices. That seemed less of a hassle.
All right, let me just share the link here. Number 63, huh?
I think so.
I mean, if it's as wild as the spring break everyone kept going on about in Florida, I don't think I've got too much to worry about.
I think South Padre Island is like.
Yeah, I googled South Padre Island spring break, and the images are what you might think of spring break. Yeah.
Might want to get a blindfold for your 2-year-old daughter.
Yeah. Well,
so you guys just got back from PubCon.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I'll let Garrett go first because he can do the kind of where he just rips the conference to pieces, and then I'll defend it with 2 points of defense, but still say I won't go again.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We knew going into it was smaller than the Vegas event. However, I didn't expect it to only be a couple hundred people. And of those couple hundred people, 40 or 50 of them are the same exact speakers from Vegas. So it was kind of really tight-knit stuff going on, and it was laid out really weird. There was 4 people there with booths, and Steve and Dave had gotten there before I did the first day, and they had them like segregated into this like blocked off area where you didn't even get foot traffic, so it didn't sound very fantastic for the 4 people there. And even so, like when I got there,
even that was after they complained. They were originally in a completely curtained off room at the side of they weren't even going to be able to see anyone all day if they'd been put where they originally planned to put them.
That sounds wild.
That was the improved compromise location they got. Aren't you glad we didn't get a booth now, Vin?
Yeah.
See, Vin was the one who talked us out of it. He's like, no, man, let's just not bother with getting a booth at that one. And, I think we would have literally killed ourselves if we'd spent money on that.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys saw after last time that the money for vendors like us is at the networking meetings afterwards, and just throwing down with some like-minded folk.
Yeah, I think if it's a big enough conference, the people with the stands do a lot of business. Like I'm sure at the main PubCon in Vegas, people who sell just mass market services do well, and I know Brighton SEO it does well, but there's like 3,000 people at those events, so you can afford to have 400 people walk by your booth and only talk to the 30 good ones, and it's still a really good day. If there's like 30 people all day going to speak to you, that's kind of an expensive. You get 3 leads. That's
you guys
$1,200 a lead. Yes,
think,
you can.
Okay.
I
So
spoke to
good call, Ben.
somebody that exhibited at, I think it was Traffic and Conversions, and I think a table there was like 40 grand,
No,
or
holy fuck.
it was something crazy. But they said they made their year just on that one event. So yeah, I'm sure it's just like the conference, you know.
It has to be a big conference. It has
Yeah.
to be big, proper convention floor. If there isn't a proper convention floor, you're just like at Learn Inbound. You know, they were just getting people speaking to them during the breaks, which there weren't very many of. And one of the breaks, they took everyone out the building.
Yeah.
So that can't have been big value either for the whole day, and you're only getting a couple of hours of coverage. If there isn't a proper convention floor, don't buy a booth, is my advice to everyone. And if you're running a conference, I'll let Garrett finish because he's going to cover all of my rant.
What am I supposed to finish? Like, I don't know. I'd definitely go back to Vegas.
Booth now.
Well, would you guys go to PubCon Vegas again, or
yeah,
we're definitely.
I don't know. This one was just super weird. Like networking, like the second day, as soon as the speeches were over or the presentations, everybody just straight up left. Nobody hung. They didn't have any, you know, like organized networking thing, but everybody just got out and left. You know, a few people that were actually there just got up and left.
Yeah.
The event organizers just straight up walked out, like no real effort to, you know, keep people engaged or anything. And it just seemed not as well put on as Las Vegas.
It sounds like they feel like they have to put this event on, but they're doing the bare minimum just to
pretty much
keep it going.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And I know in Vegas they have the award ceremony on the first night as well, so there's nothing on that night. So like if we hadn't put our own thing on, we might have been bored that night as well. But I think people that run these conferences need to think why people are there. Like Brighton SEO gets it. People are there to network, meet other people, and you're not doing yourself out of sales opportunities on the booths if you make it fun and give people the opportunity to do that for free as part of their ticket, because Brighton SEO sells big money booths to people like American Express and, you know, all kinds of big brands from our industry that you'd expect to be there are there as well. You know, Screaming Frog sends everyone over from Europe, and you know, they're selling the booths out even though there's parties, but there's a party every single day, and during the day there's constant partying. Like Deep Crawl I mean, I don't know if they're doing it every year, but every time I've been down, Deep Crawl's been doing their Deep Crawl bar. So during the day, people are networking and mingling.
Yeah.
A lot of people go to these events to meet other people. And if that's constricted to the evening dinners, which like at this one, loads of people had their private dinners with their group of 10 people that they always meet at every, if the only networking is restricted to just seeing people that already know each other and you already know, there's less incentive to go to that conference because you know you can meet those people elsewhere at other events. You can still meet them for dinner for free. The whole point of the conference is to provide you with an opportunity to meet new people, and for people like us that are younger and haven't been going to the conferences for as long, to actually meet people full stop that we've only spoken to online and all this kind of thing. And they're just, a lot of the conferences we've been to have put no thought into how to facilitate any mingling, networking, having a good time at the conference. It's all just, there'll be a mixer first with a couple of drinks served where everyone's just there to get their pass, have one drink and leave. So they're always pretty quiet. And then at the end, there's some kind of a party that the organizers turn up late to. Instead of bringing all their buddies in from the poolside bar at the Hilton, they hang around with their buddies at the poolside bar at the Hilton while their event has the first 20 people in there and isn't really picking up. It's just the wrong. They just don't. I don't know. It just seemed awful in so many ways. As an event to go to and meet people in the industry and learn things. We had some speakers regurgitating last year's PubCon presentations. Dave was unlucky enough to sit through a couple of those, which is, you know, if you're going to have a B conference where there's no new material shared, even though it's the year after, you know, you don't expect to be getting 2018 presentations in 2019. If it's a genuine B conference, it should be priced accordingly, and you should just go to get loads of people there for a party or something, not try and sell it that it's the same, it's a real PubCon, because this wasn't a real PubCon like PubCon Vegas. It wasn't even close.
Right.
I said I would defend it slightly. The only, like, they still have participation from the big industry names. IBM's there, Google's there. They have 5 tracks, so if you're a new person to the industry, you definitely would have found enough presentations to go to get the value of your ticket for learning. So I don't want to say this whole thing was just like a big ripoff. It just smacked of a bit of poor organization, and for more experienced people who only maybe would want to go and see, you know, Google and a couple of the other big speakers and all the basic stuff like how to do LinkedIn, you've got no interest in. There was really nothing for you to do during those slots except just, you know, you could pick the least bad thing and sit through it for the sake of it. But, you know, we've all got better things to do with our days than that. And there just wasn't anything going on. Whereas at Brighton SEO, there's so much going on. You could just duck in and out of various parties, network. There's a, you know, they even organize like a whole bunch of different lunches at Brighton SEO you can put your name down for. You know, there's like, I think there's a women in SEO lunch, agency owners lunch. There's all these different lunches aimed at the different groups they know are going to be there. And if you've got lunch plans anyway, like I did last year, you not put your name down. But if you're a new person to the conference scene, that's a really good opportunity to put your name down and meet people that are the same as you. So obviously you're not going to that lunch to sell to other agency owners. You're just going along to meet the other people running the same kind of businesses as you, have a good lunch, catch up on who they're using and what's going on, and make some friends. And this conference didn't have that much opportunity for it. The party at the end was in a decent location. Not everyone stayed for it. It was quite quiet, but we did do some good mingling. Will we get business out of it to pay for the cost? Probably just. Like, it's a break-even conference at best for us. Yeah. Every other conference we've been to, except for LeadsCon, we've come out with a really solid ROI. This one's going to be like, we'll probably get enough business to pay for the ticket, but not much more.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear that Brighton, and well, it's good to hear that there's other conferences out there that keep the audience in mind the way you were describing Brighton does. Because every conference I've always ever gone to has been like kind of like PubCon. You kind of have to like force yourself into groups of people to introduce yourself, and you know, kind of got to make your own way. But you know, it's exciting to hear that Brighton will be a little bit easier in that regard. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'd probably stick your name down for one of the lunches.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially because you won't have that much. I don't think there's any big writing companies usually around. Textbroker, I think, has a stand, but no one uses them. So
yeah,
I don't know why they come. I don't know why they come every year. To be honest, they're like a joke.
Well, I got my hotel for Minnesota Search Summit, but that might be the same weekend my restaurant is opening. So I don't know what's going on with that. We'll see. I'll know more in the next couple of weeks.
Restaurants never open on time. You can safely assume it'll be a month late. So just.
This is the month late date.
Oh,
we were hoping end of May, but we're looking at end of June now. So so we'll see. But I'm definitely in for Brighton, obviously, and PubCon Vegas at the minimum.
Cool.
So we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, the first news item I kind of added for you guys, the piece from Siege Media on identifying outreach markets that are different from your core market. And I'm sure you guys can talk about it, but the idea here is, like, you know, you always hear SEOs say, you know, I got all of the links that my competitors have, and I'm still not ranking, and I don't really know where else to get links. So the idea would be to expand into complementary markets by creating content or linkable assets that satisfy both your market and the complementary market. So I thought this was.
I'm sure I covered this better in my article on the on Builder Society in the crash course, chapter 20.
Yeah. Let me get that link too. I'll share both of them.
Check it out. I mean, this is kind of this is what the big agencies have been doing as well. I mean, if you've ever been to a search conference and sat through one of their presentations where they go through their link building campaigns, this is where the game is now. You know, if you're spending big agency money, they'll design a huge creative. We can obviously do that cheaper. But you know, clients will pay them to do the most famous one that from the conference scene is Distill's guide to WordPress, and that got loads of, you know, for an insurance company, but they did a small business guide, so it was all, you know, so the traffic they drove was mostly small businesses, which obviously can buy small business insurance. So it had a nice crossover, but it got them a completely different type of link than if they just went after money sites, because they were getting tech and small business sites. So it's just thinking of sensible ideas that have good crossover with your business. And they've got the, you know, the sleeping one, you know, I guess Talk.com is some kind of quilt or mattress company or something like that. I don't know. They've done like autism spectrum disorder and sleep. And that's just the kind of thing you need to be doing. You find things in other niches that are related to your main topic, combine them together, make something good, pitch it out there and get the links. We do have clients, obviously, who believe the opposite of this, that you should only get links from within your niche. And that's fine, you know, we'll do whatever we're told, but we'd never work this way for our own sites. You know, you're just throwing away so many good opportunities to make awesome pieces of content and get really big links. So we're always looking to do cross niche and interesting pieces of content where we can. That's what all the big companies are doing. And for those of you wondering, Simply Business absolutely dominate the UK business insurance market. And you know, if you look at their profile in Ahrefs, you can see that, you know, whoever their agency is now and whoever it's been in the past, not all of it's clean. There's a few obvious advertorial type paid links maybe in there, and some suspicious editorial that they've been given with things that they sponsor. And there's a few bits like that in there. But for the most part, they've just done link baits on related topics and piled loads of links at them. And instead of just like copying, I don't know, like Aviva.com or something, some other insurance company, and getting all the finance links, although I'm sure they've done the same. You'd probably struggle to find an example in competitive UK finance where they're not doing this kind of strategy. Good link baits, good topics, rip them out.
Have you seen any difference in ranking effectiveness or traffic acquisition effectiveness by going out?
It takes longer, but you have more power when you're finished. So like if you just start building links to your money pages straight out the door, you can build a little niche site that ranks quite well for those terms, but you find it harder to add new pages and have them just immediately rank. Whereas if you've done this kind of thing where you've built up a lot of power, you find the whole rising tide starts to take effect from your interlinking, and you start seeing new pages not need those direct links. So I mean, I had this discussion with someone about a month ago, and it's not wrong to just focus on building all your links to your money pages, but you're going to make it harder for you to structure your internal linking in future. Whereas having a group of pages that you're always building links to and always have all your power, it means you don't have to restructure your whole site every time you change and focus, or you want to. It's all just flowing in the same in the same mix of links. So
that speaks to the power of proper interlinking for sure.
Yeah, and I think people overestimate their ability to plan and how much they'll end up changing on their site. So they'll be like, oh yeah, but I'm only ever going to target these 50 products. So I'm just going to build 2 links to each of these 50 products. And the ones that don't budge, I'll add another 5 links each to. And then they change strategy completely, and the links haven't got the right anchors, so they're not as useful. They can't really interlink with the different stuff as easily. Whereas if you have something that's more general, like the Parents Guide to Sleep thing or something, or there's loads of these sleep ones they've got on this article. But anyway, take the parents one. If they bring out a new range of like aeroplane pillows for kids or something, adding that kind of product is going to be super easy for them, because they've already got the parents and kids link baits they've done over the years to filter the authority through from. Whereas you can't just, and that's related enough, you can't just link from all your baby cots pages to your baby airplane pillow and it's kind of relevant, but it's not. It's not going to be as effective because you're going to be. It's all spread out to start with, and
yeah, it's interesting.
They're too specific. So I think a mix of both is the way to go. I think Garrett always does a bit of both. Like we've always got link baits on the go, but with pages that need 1 or 2 links, get them in there to those. I think a mix is the way to go, but you don't want to just do, like Vin said, copy your competitors' links and point all the ones you can copy to one of your sales pages.
Right.
That won't build you an authority site in the long run. And as you get bigger, your link profile starts not matching your competition, because your competition is big companies doing proper things like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have all these nice link baits with 100 links to them. You just have 1,000 pages of 2 links each. And I think with the machine learning becoming more and more important at Google, you do see outlier sites perform less well.
Yeah.
If you compare what you're doing to your competitors and you're completely different. Unless you're better, which I think it would be hard to say objectively that the algorithm would think someone who's manipulated their links that much that they have exactly 2 links to each one of their 1,000 posts or something, that's definitely going to be a quality signal. I think the quality signal is going to be towards people that are spending money on all the fancy link baits and building links to them, even if it doesn't count the links individually more strongly. I think as a quality signal, it's going to be safe to assume that people doing that are more quality sites. So it would get baked into the algorithm somewhere in amongst all the signals.
Gotcha. It's interesting. I wish I had the time in the day to dig into link analysis the way you guys do. I just find it interesting. But all right, what's up here next? This cognitive.
What's up with the first sentence in this article? Google is quite disputed beef search marketers all over the world, but we can all agree on one thing. Like,
I didn't even actually read the whole thing. I just put this up because I think it's a good resource for everybody. Just because I didn't even know all these products existed from Google, so it's cool to have them all in one place. Back in the day, I never really used Google products because I always thought it was acted as like a honeypot to kind of out yourself as an SEO, and that would result in your site tanking.
Well, they don't have to do that anymore. They've got direct access to your mic and all your phone calls. So
yeah.
They don't need this. They don't need this data anymore.
So I'm using a lot more Google products now. So I'm going to go through this list and see if I can integrate any of it into my workflow and see if it can automate any of my processes further and just make my life easier.
One thing, just following on from what we chatted about last week in the aftermath of the 24 hours of SEO, Garrett's buddy reminded me of it. Google's really good at providing not just APIs for loads of their tools, but development toolkits in various languages for each one. Like Python's almost always available. So you don't really have to learn anything other than, well, you don't have to learn anything. Like it said, they give you the toolkit. You just have to write, get this data that I want and make your CSV that you can upload into your tool and then run the script. So some of them have rate limits, of course. Like you can't do things like get the Google page speed test and run the page speed on 4 billion websites. They allow it, but they allow you pretty generous limits, I guess, because they're so big. They give you like 10,000 a day and things like that as your limits on some things.
Yeah.
And the worst, that one might be 500 a day or something. But there's loads of APIs for loads of these tools, so you can do some pretty fun stuff with them. And because they're giving you the toolkits, your learning curve is like 10 minutes to at least make a start and have a play around. Whereas some APIs, you've got to write your own code to interface with the tool, the API URLs and stuff. Quite a lot of these, it's all they nicely packaged for you.
Yeah, I was looking at Google Trends. That's nothing new. But one feature I did see that I didn't notice before was their rising topics related to the search term that you search for in Trends. So I'm going to start using that to come up with supporting content topics. Basically, just to get in early on new keywords and also to come up with topics that are tightly related to my money page keywords without kind of like getting into keyword cannibalization issues.
Yeah, and there you go. And when your new system comes out, you can integrate with the API, and it can automatically request blog posts from the writers. You can have your topics in there on a list for each site that you manage.
Yeah,
and it can go into that periodically. Say this is a new rising topic, write an article about that, and the writer can look at the two, merge it together, and
yeah, that's funny you said that, because I was right before the show, I was literally trying to figure out how to do this in bulk as opposed to search by search. But yeah, some ideas are going with that.
I think you can get a lot of API. There was one I used to use that was a Google thing where I could get it to dump the results into Google Sheets. So I would imagine some of these APIs you can get to dump the data into Google Sheets. So the writer would just go in and look at the list, the fresh dump, instead of you having to even code it into your system. So I forget which one it was I used that way, because I always just use Python now. But back when I was a noob,
I might still have it.
It was something to do with news. It was Google News or something.
Yeah, I used it for writing for Tech Function and a couple other sites.
There we go.
Like business news type stuff.
Yeah, so we had the Google News API dumping into a Google Sheet so people could see all the latest news on certain topics.
Cool. Yeah, I also, this Data Studio, have you seen Data Studio yet? It's just like
I haven't played with that.
Cool way to visualize your data. Kind of reminds me of like Airtable a little bit, different features.
I thought everyone used Power BI these days. I thought that was the cool kids SEO tool.
Yeah, I don't know. And then they have Google Hire, which doesn't look like a job board. It looks like a candidate management system, which is pretty cool. That'll be cool for us because we get hundreds upon hundreds of writer applications all the time. And it'll be cool if we can just organize it in Google Hire. So yeah, it's worth a look going through this list. You should be able to find something that'll be useful to you.
I found it, the file, and it still works.
Wow.
Yes, it does. Well, it just had an article with the date 2019, and yeah, it's working.
Wow, there we go. So you can still get Google News into Google Sheets.
Yeah, it's pulling from Reddit's RSS feed, from Google News, Google News, SEO Roundtable, FeedBurner.
How did you set that up with Google?
You can have a copy. We'll send you a copy and you can figure it out. I think you just put the URLs in now and it does it automatically.
Yeah, I think it actually does. I'm looking. Import, it's equal to import feed of A1. So it's just importing from an RSS link. And then it's taking the item title from the RSS.
Cool.
And it's taking the first 20 articles.
I do something similar where I set up a Google alert for like new blog posts or any new articles related to my keywords, and then it gets sent to a subfolder in Gmail. And then if I wanted to do that, I could run IFTTT on that folder, and it will extract all the URLs out of the email and put them into a spreadsheet. But sounds like your version skips a few of those steps and just goes right to the end.
Yeah, I think there's loads more you can do with Google Sheets.
Yeah,
that sounds like it was a pretty basic one we did, but there's loads more you can do, I think.
Cool. Well, next up we have Search Engine Roundtable. Wikipedia lost 21% of their traffic after Google featured snippets launched.
Yeah.
I don't know if this has been confirmed, but that's pretty serious, huh?
I can believe it because you look at what it like. I was moaning about it the other week how like they make it harder for you to click through to Wikipedia now than you used to. Like I used to search Wikipedia by just searching on Google, then immediately clicking the Wikipedia link, and now it's like hidden, and they try and make you click through more knowledge bank entries and keep you on Google. So I can well believe that.
Do you think they purposefully leave Wikipedia out of the featured snippets, just because they want to cut the amount of market share that they have, or?
The more you click around, the more Google ads you see. So I
Yeah.
think they very much purposefully keep you on Google, wording it slightly nicer than you, but yeah, same end result.
Yeah, so some of the comments, people are basically shitting on featured snippets, but you just gotta get better at grabbing
Well,
featured
it
snippets,
is
man.
what it is. They're not going away, so get
Yeah.
them where you can, and it does drive traffic. But it will be less and less cool than when you could just not have them there. But Google's not going to take them away for the search query, so you just got to put up with it and optimize as best you can.
And certain search still have the double featured snippets where they
Vin
organically.
is, as you know, Mr. Snippet. So if you're struggling to get one, give him $100,000, and he will.
Yeah.
His elite knowledge.
Well, I'm still picking up new featured snippets all the time, but I'm not actively trying to do it. It's just
that's what he says. That's what he says until you get $100,000.
It's so easy. All you do is
no, don't tell them this. No.
It's so easy.
They got to give you that. They've got to get you some money here, man. If you know one thing sucks at, you don't just give it away for free.
Put shit in the list. Put shit on the table.
24 hours of SEO next year, you can do that if you want. But
there you go.
If you want to find out before next year, you have to. It won't be $100,000, but you got to at least give him something. Buy him a sandwich, for God's sake.
I'm not so up in arms about people that are hating on Google for releasing all these new features. I do think it adds to the user experience, which is what Google is trying to do.
I think
but it also creates opportunities. It creates opportunities for you that weren't there before. So if you're not going to view
I'd like to say, if you're really pissed off about featured snippets killing your website, you are going to have a struggle for your life in whatever comes next.
Well, and that's the thing people have got to remember is Google's fighting against all these other things that are coming next. They're trying to keep relevant. They're trying to move for the times. They're trying to keep users thinking it's good. So they've got to innovate. If they just left it alone, they would just decline at some point when things.
I don't want to say it's just going to keep getting harder, but it's going to take more time, and it's not just going to be the same bullshit it was for the last 3 years. It always changes, and if you're going to be salty about it, no one's going to listen to you because you're a fucking twat.
Yeah. So I'm just not going to worry. The only thing I get pissed at is when Google takes content from your site and shows it on the
site.
That's nonsense, and that has to change. But yeah, featured snippets, it's an opportunity.
Right.
All right. So Google search quality raters don't directly impact rankings.
This one annoyed me because it immediately in the actual copy confirms that the title's not what they actually said.
I must have copied this. Google said.
Yeah, like what John Miller actually said was they don't evaluate and penalize sites. Obviously, they impact rankings because Google's collecting that data to feed back into their algorithm, which will impact rankings. So if there's something they're looking at and they're getting low quality information back for a particular type of keyword or a particular signal that they're using, they're going to use that to improve their rankings. So they didn't say Google search quality raters don't directly impact. But I suppose because he's included the word directly, it's semantically true, but it's obviously just a clickbait title. They do exactly what you thought they did. They rate things to help Google improve their rankings through adjusting the algorithm. I think anyone that imagines Google goes around randomly manually adjusting things in some big warehouse is kind of crazy anyway. So the title's technically true, but it really isn't what John Miller was trying to say.
Yeah.
It was
just they don't directly affect rankings or penalize your site, but they indirectly do, and he's being cute about that.
Yeah. Well, it was probably a stupid question he got asked. Are they penalizing people? It's kind of dumb. Yeah. I mean, they do what we thought they did, and you definitely can learn things from the things Google's got in their raters guidelines because that's where they think they need to be in terms of quality. So ignoring them is silly as well. But
my understanding is that it's the rating guidelines are similar to Google patents. they might file a patent, but what's in that patent may never come to fruition. But what's in that patent may come to fruition, but it's probably not going to be visible to us for another year or two. And I think it's the same thing with the guidelines. It's, the stuff they're asking search engine raters to look for are things that they're either testing for the future or things they're planning on implementing in the future. So it's somewhat of a crystal ball where you can make.
And you have to take into account the factors that Google isn't even aware of being baked into their algorithm by machine learning that they're testing all the time. Like sometimes it will be weighting something in a way that they can see what it's doing, but they could never give a reason for why it's doing it or what the real underlying.
Yeah.
Like if all good sites share some weird thing that you can't really put your finger on, but an analysis of the maths puts a finger on it, gradually over time, there's going to be more and more of those things in algorithms.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not something to take as canon, but it can definitely, tip you off for things to come. For sure. It's worth a read.
Yeah, so what's next here? Florida 2.0 after a 15-year hiatus.
What's that?
The update. You know what Florida is, right?
They're calling it Florida 2.0?
Yeah, that's what they say.
We've been surprised.
I haven't had time to look at it.
Florida 2.0. Just when we've been got back from Florida as well.
Yeah, well.
So March 12th, Google search ranking algorithm update is officially called Florida 2. It's just a broad core algorithm update. So that's what they called Thread, right? That last March, or 2 Marches ago. And it's basically their way of saying we updated shit and we're not telling you at all what it's about.
Well, they don't even know for everything.
Why? What is the reasoning for people calling this Florida versus something like Fred? Because they were intrinsically different, weren't they?
Yeah.
Are we just calling it Florida because that's what we do now? Brett that runs PubCon said in Webmaster World he's calling it Florida too. So that's why we're calling it that.
I mean, it goes red on cognitive SEO, so I mean, it's got to be Florida, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's only orange on Algoroo.
The Mozcast volatility is lower than the update in early March or late February. Whatever that update was is kind of hit me a little bit. I'm down about between 15 and 18% compared to January and early February. But it's a normal three steps forward, one step back.
I didn't know that so many people still went on Webmaster World.
Yeah, tell me.
I think it's just Barry's favorite site because he knows a lot of the posters.
I'm reading through this thread, and it's like people that have just always been there.
Yeah,
I suppose they just want to talk to their friend. That's fine.
Yeah, I imagine if he jumped on somewhere where he didn't know everyone, it'd be harder to pick out which threads he was going to cover. Whereas he knows like who's semi-sensible on here, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who goes on regularly anymore, though.
I think that was either before my time or I just never paid attention to it. But
yeah, it was before our time that it was really popular. It's one of those early internet places.
Oh, by the way, I got a Surplus subscription finally.
Oh, excellent. Did you get that 10,000 month enterprise pack we negotiated live on the air with Carter for you?
No, I didn't get that one. I got the 2,000 word or 2,000 keyword one.
That seems more practical.
Yeah, I just got to I got to watch all their videos to.
Now you've got to use it. That's the next thing we have to nag you about. Have you used Surplus yet?
Yeah. I have a project set up, and but there's all kinds of crazy like features you can do with this. So what the hell is the average movement?
What?
Yeah, I'm just reading to myself. There's a lot of features that I just want to take full advantage of, so I'm going to go through all their quick start guides. But so far, I got my project loaded, all my keywords in there, so I'm starting to build that history. And I think that's the coolest part of CircleWoo is you build a history of the top 100 ranking pages for every keyword. And as long as you're tracking that keyword, you're going to have that history of ranking changes. So if there's a big fluctuation for a specific keyword, you can go through the ranking history and kind of reverse engineer what happened and how to adjust your page to circumvent that.
Yeah, and that big tweet storm that Grindstone did and we covered on the show a few months ago, that wouldn't have been possible without having the CircleWoo and Ahrefs data to merge together and watch what people were doing in aggressive niches and stuff. So
Yeah.
It is a good data tool for sure.
So I'm in there. What else we got here?
I just over the weekend I was working on one of our sites and was doing I had to do some 301s or something, and I've heard people talk that 301s can be detrimental in HTX at the time to first byte, and I didn't necessarily agree, but I've never really looked into it because you're parsing a really basic text file that even a slow server can run 2,000 lines in like a tenth of a second. And I found this guy who kind of validated my opinion that he ran 200,000 301s line, 200,000 lines of 301s, not individual 301s. And if you assuming that his data is truthful, his site did load pretty poorly, but really loading shit in an HTAccess file is going to be so negligible, however the fuck you say that word, negligible.
Now you're gonna make me say around. Negligible.
Yeah, there we go.
You see how I say
really,
that one?
Yeah. Like his load time, really.
You need 25,000 lines to double the time to first byte, and it's still pretty. It starts at 90 milliseconds, get it up to 180 plus, was 25,000 lines.
Right.
For enterprise people, this kind of, for enterprise people, this kind of stuff's going to be a mild consideration. But for everyone else,
to really, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's an issue with Apache or whatever the fuck HTAccess actually runs in, but it's worth noting that when he got to what is this, 45,000 or something, that we start to see a pretty big spike in issue.
He has a bigger gap, doesn't he? Like he goes 40, 50, then 100, so it's probably fairly linear.
Yeah.
Even with 100,000, 100,000 is getting up there because you're getting, I guess at 150,000, you're going to be losing half a second. I guess.
And I guess my real assumption from this too is his site is probably not optimized for speed very well if it's actually loading this slowly. So maybe these time to first byte parsing the HTAccess file would actually be a lot less if there weren't other stuff, affecting his time to first byte or his load time. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I think it's a nice test though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's from a couple of years ago too, so things may have changed by now. I don't know.
I'm sure they improve the code in Apache all the time. So probably it's less brutal now. Maybe you can get up to 40,000 before it doubles, but I don't know. It seems to perform pretty reasonably well. It's pretty flat between 25,000 and 50,000. There's really negligible difference. Once you get up to that kind of big number, it seems to not really struggle. Yeah. I think basically, if you're going to 301 1,000 pages on your site, you probably don't need to worry. This is going to be fine.
Cool. Well, I think that's all the news items today. Do we have a main topic? Main topic was PubCon.
Yeah, the main topic was PubCon. I guess we'll give people a quick update. You've applied for your cards now for your free.
I was going to say I need to work on. I still haven't cut down the 24 hours of SEO into individual speaker videos, and I don't know how that's going to go. My office internet is still really shitty. I don't have my new connection yet. I don't know how I'm going to download the YouTube videos here that are 6 hours long.
Overnight.
Yeah, I'll try one tonight and see if it actually downloads, but there's a chance that it gets I'll try it. Otherwise,
Why don't you download it on your home computer to like a Dropbox?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'll download it.
Yeah.
At the very least, I'll stick it on a jump drive.
Cool. Cool. I didn't get the Delta card yet. I totally forgot about it until you just said that. But I'm gonna get it.
Okay.
You sent me the referral for that, right? That was what you sent?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll get that. It's on my list.
Okay. Yeah.
But
American Express emailed me saying thanks for your referral, and I didn't notice it until yesterday. So it must have just been when I sent the
email. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll get that one.
I mean, move quickly. We don't want you to miss out on the flight deals.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll do it quick for sure. And then I just gotta wait until Brighton. You guys are psyching me up on this big time.
Yeah,
yeah, Brighton's a lot of fun.
Get ready to party pretty hard.
Cool. I'm down with that. You know, you don't have to ask me twice.
Yeah. Don't expect the good American food you get by the seaside though. It's not terrible places, but you're not gonna think it's good.
No, you don't think so?
I don't know. There's a couple of good places to eat in Brighton, but it's not
compared to America. It's lacking.
Compared to America, it's lacking definitely.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the minor changes in culture. Like, do you guys not put your orange juice in the refrigerator?
I think everyone puts their orange juice in the fridge.
I think that might be Ireland then. So I heard that's somewhere they don't.
Well, I mean, you can find. I mean, there's some weird people in this country that do all kinds of things. Like there's people that don't put their milk in the fridge and they just drink it curdling. But you know, most people have become accustomed to refrigeration.
Cool. I'm excited. All right, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good. We'll update you on Vin's travels in a couple of weeks then, I guess, because no point talking about it next week if.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll get signed up so it's not delay this any longer. And then, but that's it. You know, I'm just gonna do this personal card, and I don't think I'm gonna do the business card as well. If the personal card doesn't get me all the way there on the ticket, I'll just supplement with cash.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll see. We'll look at it then. See how much you need to spend on there to get there. I mean, with your monthly spending, probably you're gonna have 300,000 points in a week or something. Aren't you?
I want to. I'm totally thinking about getting that business card and then just putting all my writer payments through the card.
Oh yeah.
I could totally do that, but that's going to require the writers to invoice me for every project. So that might be a little difficult, but we'll see. All right, boys.
All right, catch you later.
I'll see you next
that
week.
like button, subscribe, whatever people do. See ya.